everyone. Hey, welcome to this episode here of Pest Posse TV. We are just so grateful that everyone is joining us here today. And boy, we have got a great one for you all today. We have got Erin in the house from IntelliShift. She's going to be talking about her podcast, which we're going to be talking what that's going to be about. We're going to be talking about fleets. We're going to be talking about vehicles here. It's something we're really passionate about here as far as maintaining your vehicles, having the fleet the right way and everything. And we were just so fortunate to be able to hook up with Erin, bring her on here. And Erin, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. We appreciate your time. And I think before we just kind of dive right into this, why don't you give everybody your 60-second elevator speech as far as, hey, who is Erin?
Okay, awesome. So again, Erin Gilchrist here. I have a great title. I'm the VP of Fleet Evangelism at IntelliShift, but more so just a longtime member of the fleet community. I kind of grew up in my career in fleet, and the fleet industry has helped to shape the leader and fleet leader that I am today. I was a longtime enterprise size fleet leader, ran a very large national fleet for many years, which kind of qualifies me to do the job that I do in IntelliShift, which hopefully we'll dig into a little bit later. But I have my office here in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm a mom, full-time working mom always, of 6 awesome kids. And I keep busy, and I love hosting the Straight Talk on Fleet, and we'll dig into that in a little bit. That's a little bit about me.
Yeah, 6 kids. You got me beat. I only had 4, and
Okay,
they're
well,
they're
4's a
all
lot.
grown. Yeah, but 6 is when you add 2 more to the mix. Well, that's just a whole nother
Two at
thing.
home still. I'm
Oh wow,
2 at
okay,
home, so
yeah,
we're hanging tough.
yeah, you are, boy. Yeah, well, I commend you on that. Yeah, 4 was enough for me. I ended up having to raise them all myself, but that's another story, another topic, another time.
Well, good for
Uh,
you. That's not easy. I was there
you
for a while too, so I can relate.
Yeah, not a fun thing. So, well, I love your title that you're the fleet evangelist there at IntelliShift.
Mhm.
What really kind of what is that? What is that title that
Okay, well,
you've come up with? I'm assuming.
well, I can't take credit for that. Actually,
Okay.
my
Mhm.
leader at IntelliShift, he's our CMO, Ryan Driscoll. He came up with that title, and really, I do 3 main things at IntelliShift. So the first one, and more on the evangelist side, is I host a podcast. And I do that at IntelliShift, but for the fleet community. And so that's where I get to evangelize about sort of all things safety, risk, fleet, and operations. And then that kind of helps to build this community of fleet leaders. We don't really have another place to do that. So we can talk about that in a minute. The second thing that I do at IntelliShift is I serve as the fleet manager, subject matter expert at IntelliShift. So I sit inside as our voice of the customer so that everything we do from sales to product marketing, product development, et cetera, is from the perspective of someone who actually ran a massive fleet for many years and can speak to what we need to be efficient as fleet leaders. So that is kind of like a fleet manager without a fleet. So it's a lot less stressful. And then the third thing I do, which is also really fulfilling, is I serve as a consultant to our prospects and to our customers to kind of help them roadmap or blueprint, if you will, their visions for the fleets in their organizations, what they want to do from an efficiency and safety standpoint, and how I would help them visualize sort of how to get there, and then what part IntelliShift will play in that. I have consulted with prospects who we're still in the process. Maybe they do business with IntelliShift, maybe they don't, but I'm there to help them think about how to be uh, manage the safest and most efficient fleets possible based on my experience. So that's what I get to do as the VP of Fleet Evangelism.
I think that's
Good
great.
stuff.
That's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of hats that you wear, a lot of things
Mhm.
that you do for those people in managing their fleets and everything. And and I know here in the pest control industry, a lot of companies really don't think about that they have a fleet or really a fleet manager or anything with that. Why don't we just kind of really break this down before we go any farther with that, as far as, this whole fleet management thing that we're talking about here. Provide kind of really kind of what is this? What really is an overview of this, and really what is its importance when we're looking at it, I guess, here with the pest control industry, but I guess with any industry, what's really the importance of having this fleet management?
Right. I think a fleet manager, well, fleet management just essentially, is this like overseeing and optimization of an organization's fleet of vehicles and equipment. Now, the fleet manager doesn't always manage all of that, but for the purposes of today, I think describing what a fleet manager does, I mean, we're responsible for the efficiency, the safety, the compliance, all of those wide range of activities that happen with the organization's, like I said, fleet of vehicles and or equipment. And the fleet manager plays, I think, an extremely pivotal role in in the the organization's health. And the reason I say that is because if a business has a fleet, that fleet serves a really important purpose. So let's talk pest control, right? If you have, that's a mobile, typically service operation where people with that expertise are going out to homes, commercial places of business, and providing a service. And they're doing that in some sort of vehicle asset. And so someone back at HQ has to be responsible to make sure that the service that that company is selling is fulfilled every single day on time for every customer. Well, that's just what everyone in the general public sees. Behind the scenes is all the work that it takes to make sure that the vehicles are running efficiently, that there's that maximum uptime so we can make it to those end customers, that those technicians or skilled laborers are not only looking at what they're doing vocationally, but then also really being serious about all the fleet to dos that need to happen in that vehicle. Like, I need to feel good today. I need to be fit. My vehicle needs to be fit. I need to get in that vehicle today and operate it as safely as possible. I also need to get to all my customers on time and maybe fill my tank with fuel and maybe get a maintenance event. So there's so many things that go into fleet management. But again, if you're an organization that had vehicles, um, I would encourage anyone listening out there to rethink the way that you think about your fleet manager and his or her team, because they're not just a cost center, they're actually revenue generators. So think about them that way. And I think that you'll have a totally different view of sort of what fleet management is and the role, the critical role that we play inside of organizations.
Yeah, and that's really a good way to break it down when you really think about it, and that's why I said it. I mean, when we're looking at this here in the pest control industry, I wouldn't say a lot of the industry, but I mean, we have a good portion of the industry really, are those small to medium sized companies. They might only have 2 trucks, they might only have 4 trucks. I mean, they really need to be looking at that. Maybe they don't have a designated fleet manager per se, but like you said, this truck, and we've said this here at the Pest Posse, I mean, this is your most important tool in the toolbox. This needs to get you to A to B, to B to C, to C to D to generate that revenue. And you need to make sure, just like you said, that that vehicle is comfortable for the driver to get into, that it's safe, that it's reliable. And you as owners that are listening to this, yeah, maybe you only have 1 technician or maybe you have 2 technicians. Well, still, that's a fleet. And you need to make sure that
Absolutely.
yeah, and you need to make sure you're taking care of that. And you're taking care of that fleet to make sure that, again, that driver feels good, because I can attest to that. I won't go into my experiences that I have, but driving a vehicle that's a total bucket and a total hoopty, and we know what we're talking about, doesn't make
We
you feel
do.
good as an individual, and doesn't make you want to present the company that you're working for in a professional manner. If that
Right.
truck has got issues, if it's a high mileage, it's not being taken care of, yada yada yada, we could go into all that stuff. I've been
Mhm.
there. I've done that,
I've been there
unfortunately.
too. I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Being forced to operate antiquated vehicles because we couldn't get more.
Yep.
There's so many things going on in the industry now that I don't care if you have 2 trucks or 2,000. Um, it's still a critical responsibility, I think, for any
Oh,
organization.
hey there, pest management professionals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to become successful at pest control sales? Well, I've got some exciting news to share with you today. Introducing my best-selling book, that's right, Fundamentals of Pest Control Sales Strategies from a Pest Management Professional by me, that's right, 30-year industry veteran. Now, inside this incredible book, well, I'm going to share with you my wealth of knowledge that I've gained from those 3 decades of really being in the industry in a way that's easy for you to understand and apply. I'm just so thrilled to help you master the art of pest control sales. Now, whether you're that seasoned pro or you're just starting out, well, guess what? This book right here, this has got something for everyone. You'll learn the ins and outs of effective sales techniques, that customer communication, and how to build that lasting relationship to deal with really even the most pickiest of customers, and do this with confidence. Now, join thousands of pest control professionals who have already really taken their sales career really to the next level with my book. Now it's time for you to become a true pest control sales expert. And don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Now get your copy, Fundamentals of Pest Control Sales, today. Really, it's only available on Amazon. Fundamentals of Pest Control Sales really is your key to unlocking your pest control sales success, so get your copy today. It's great that we're having you on because you really have got a good breadth of knowledge as far as fleet management. And it's great, like we mentioned, that you have a podcast. And I guess that's really why we brought you on here, because we really want to introduce this to the industry for business owners that aren't aware of, one, IntelliShift, two, you and your podcast, which is really the straight talk on fleet. And let's kind of get into that and kind of shift gears with that. And one, why did you start this podcast? And really, what goals did you have in mind when you started this? Because this is a big undertaking. Anybody taking on a podcast and doing stuff on a consistent basis, it's a little bit, it takes some time to do that. And you got to come up with content with it and making sure it's value added and everything. But why don't you get into that as far as straight talk on fleet?
Yeah, sure. So easy to find. Straight Talk on Fleet is anywhere where you find your content, we're there. You can find me on LinkedIn and link to it there. It's simple to find. But I think let's start with kind of why. When IntelliShift brought me on board, it was really Ryan Driscoll's sort of idea. He's our CMO, to say, hey, we need to build a community of fleet leaders, safety and risk and operations leaders. They need a place to come and talk about all this stuff that we're learning from our customers, from our prospects. And he was asking me, where do you go? I mean, how do you? Well, I go to trade shows, Ryan. I network with people in the industry at events, but in terms of this online community, there really wasn't one. He said, well, let's build it. I said, okay, let's do it. I can talk about fleet forever. I love fleet. It's my passion. And so we started to frame out this idea of a podcast, and IntelliShift had dabbled in some podcasts with as a marketing strategy prior to bringing me on board. But they thought, if we get a subject matter expert on who can talk about fleet management and all the aspects of it, let's give it a shot. And I hear some stats that say if you can make it past, 15 or 20 podcasts, you're one of a small group. So we just recorded episode 37. So we made it past 25 or 20 or whatever the statistic says. So that was kind of the why, is to build this community where safety, risk, fleet ops leaders could come together and talk about their challenges and how each other are solving for them. And there's a lot of small business owners and small fleet leaders who cannot go to all these industry events. They don't even have time. They probably wear 6 other hats besides running their fleet. And so we wanted to to create a place where they could come and share their knowledge, gather knowledge. So I've had a lot of guests on, and we've shared best practices, and we've covered things from um, building a sustainability plan, how to drive safety culture in your organization, what's fuel management, what's maintenance management. So again, 2 vehicles or 10,000. The way that we talk about fleet management on the Straight Talk on Fleet is in practical, real terms. And based on my experience, having run a massive, massive fleet for many years, I can still relate to how I looked at my fleet was never that it was 10,000 vehicles. I looked at it, I have 200 trucks that do this. I have 10 vehicles that do this. I have, 1,100 that do this. So I kind of always thought of my big fleet as a lot of little fleets doing different vocational work. And how could we treat those individually so they can operate safely and efficiently? And so, based on all of that experience and implementing brand new SOPs and new policies and rewriting contracts with suppliers, to revamping how we upfitted vehicles so that it made it so much safer and easier for a technician to do their work, thinking of it as that mobile workshop, right? Um, all the way to, what do we do with the vehicles at the end of the life? So there's so many topics from specking them out all the way through to you retire them and everything in between that we talk about on the podcast and have guests on to talk about and really kind of break down the silos and break through the barriers and really get to the heart of fleet management. So it's a blast. I'm really enjoying it, and um, just feeling like I get to continue to be a fleet manager without a physical fleet right now. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's pretty yeah, and again, that's why we're bringing this out because we really want everybody to go in and check out Straight Talk on Fleet here with Erin. She delivers it in a great way, in a great manner with some great guests, great subjects. Yeah, it might not be everything top of mind for here for pest management professionals and their business owners, but again, this is why we're bringing it out to you. Because just everything that you said and really and congratulations on 37 episodes. I mean, that's a great
Thanks.
feat. I mean, getting to that point because it's not easy putting this content on and making sure that it is of value with people. And it is good that you've got this resource that you can now do this because, again, I know I keep harping on this, but I think a lot of pest control business owners, pest management, business owners aren't looking at their fleets as fleets and they're not managing them as such. And this is why we
Mhm.
really want to bring this out to you because it's really, really important. And again, Erin, I think you've just got a great, great resource for us to go to learn about, you know, this fleet management, this whole subject of what this is about,
Yeah, and
and
it's
you
just like take from it. What I love about it is it just spans so many topics that are relevant for anybody who has one vehicle out there doing something in the world. But it's just take from it what you want, leave what you don't, chime in, offer your own opinions. I love when people comment on LinkedIn or wherever I post my content and say, "Hey, I can totally relate to this," or "Hey, can I call you?" And I'm like, "Sure." So many times listeners have called and we've had a great conversation offline about something that they're dealing with and they're like, I have some ideas. I just want to run them past you. What would you
yeah,
do? And it's just been a great opportunity for me to connect with so many people and then even interview people who, have other organizations or publications to say, like, I interviewed um, Steve Kiefer from the Kiefer Foundation. His son Mitchell was killed in a distracted driving accident.
oh wow,
And he came
oh
oh, that was a memorable
oh
moment.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I've
that
had
got to
lots
be
of
hard.
memorable moments, but that one really struck me, and Shelley Forney, same, she's a public speaker, lost her daughter, uh, to Erica to a, distracted driving accident, and for us to be able to come on there and talk openly about the importance of tools and technology that help our drivers stay safe and go home in better condition than they started their day in, one, and then two, help them mitigate all the risks that are around them. We send them out there and we can somewhat control what they're doing with the proper tools and tech and management and stuff. But all the other drivers out there shaving, curling their hair, reading a book, watching a video, doing everything but just driving in their vehicle are putting our drivers at risk. So it's been really fun to bring some of those topics that are hard and painful to the surface, to help businesses really realize um, the responsibility they have when they give a driver a vehicle. It's the most dangerous tool they'll ever hand out.
Oh, it is definitely, and we have so many things going on with us during the day and that distracted driving. I mean, that's a big thing with us, with anybody really that's driving a vehicle, doing services, whatever it is, whatever industry. You just have so many things coming at you, from the stress of the services you're doing, trying to get to one job, to having the phone chirping at you, the office trying to get a hold of you in phone calls, and it's so easy
Your
to get
next
distracted.
customer, I mean, who knows?
Exactly, and I won't even get into some of the things I used to do when I used to drive as a tech because, yeah, I probably would be arrested for those. So we won't get into those because I
We'll
did some
talk
pretty
about that
crazy things.
offline.
Yeah, I just like, no, that's not going to happen. But it's good that you can bring these people on. They're willing to open up. They're willing to talk because, yeah, this distracted driving, and like you said, this is the most dangerous and most powerful tool that we have that were given to us, and I don't think a lot of people respect that. And I
Yeah,
think that this is great that you're bringing this to the forefront and in doing this in a great way to just get this information out. Let's tell these stories. Let's give some experiences. Let's take a moment to step back and let's think about this. So,
absolutely.
I
It's
think this is great. Now, in all of your years, really with fleet management and everything, in your opinion, what's really the most significant challenges you've seen that fleet managers really are facing today?
Yeah, I think that there's so many that have ebbed and flowed over the years. There's always been a history of volatility in the fuel market. There's always been a history of volatility in the supply chain. And that really hasn't changed. But what's interesting about today, so if you're listening today and you're like, you can probably, some things will probably resonate with you. One is, again, we continue to see fuel prices dip and, go all over the place. We also see the supply chain strained. Things cost more and we can't get everything we need right when we need it. So, what I've been talking a lot about to help fleet managers overcome some of these challenges that are out of their control is really control what you can. So we've been focused on the straight talk, focused on um, if you build for safety, meaning if your policies are built for safe operation, if your tools and technology are built for safe operation, think about it. That will um, help you be efficient in every area of fleet management. So if you and I are driving to the same destination in the same vehicle at the same time, you might have a 13.5 miles per gallon and I might get 18 because you drove erratically and I didn't. So when you think about what happens behind the wheel, if you can control that, right? You can also control with what you do with your fuel data, how often you maintain your vehicles. So all those critical things you do for safety and efficiency will help you cut cost even amidst this high cost um, supply chain and ecosystem that we're faced with today. So you can't buy a head of cabbage for 80 cents anymore like we used to, just like you're not going to buy a gallon of gas or get your vehicle serviced at the prices that we've been looking at on average over the last 15 years. Things have blown up from a cost perspective. So there's lots that fleet managers can do to control the controllables. So happy to help. If anybody listening says, "Hey, I wanna pick your brain about something." Hey, get a hold of me. You can feel free to post my email address, and I would love to hear from folks to help them, kind of dig through and sift through these challenges. But I would say again, volatility in the supply chain, high costs would be the top two that are stifling fleet managers right now.
Yeah, I would definitely would agree with that, and we will definitely have your contact information here in the description here, so that way everybody can reach out to Erin and talk about your fleet and ask questions because again, you're just again a wealth of information, and
Thank
really
you.
with the podcast, Straight Talking Fleet, what role do you envision this podcast playing really in the evolution of fleet management?
A fleet community. I envision it being a community of people who have a safe place to go to talk about everything fleet and safety and have um, resources at their fingertips to talk about everything fleet, from fleet managers who run fleets that are 10 vehicles to organizations with no fleet manager, and they have a somebody handling travel, fleet, name it. They got 10 hats. I want those people being able to connect with people who run larger fleets, all this varied sort of experience coming together in one place, one community where we can all get the help and the answers and the collaboration that we need to manage the safest and most efficient fleets out there. That's the goal. And we're getting there. We're building this community and I just hope we can continue to keep it, vibrant and alive with great topics and great guests. And that's the goal.
Yeah, definitely. Great goals and again just a great podcast and a great resource for everybody
Thank you.
and so really with we're looking at fleet management here kind of wrapping up this here for today. Final thoughts on fleet management. Anything in parting words that you'd like to say to our listeners and viewers that we have out there?
I would just like to say, if you think that your drivers aren't distracted, your head's in the sand. Your head is in the sand. I don't know a nicer way to say it. Love all you guys out there, but um, your drivers, based on what you're asking them to do, probably something they brought with them in the cab, drivers are distracted. Everyone else on the roadways are distracted. So find a way to address driver distraction, and you will save lives. You'll cut costs. You will build retention in your drivers. That's a myth to think that you won't. Drivers will stay because they'll know you care, because you're implementing safety measures in your fleet. So if you're not
Mhm.
doing that today, get after it.
Yeah, good
That's
message.
my advice.
Good message, Aaron.
Thank
And
you.
again, just thank you so much for being on here today. And we're definitely going to have Aaron back on in a future episode to talk about something important we think everybody should know about as far as driving. And we'll be promoting that later on. But if you guys really like this episode, like I said, leave us a comment, reach out to Erin. We're going to have her information. We'll have a link to Straight Talk on Fleet. You also, you're watching this on Pest Posse TV. You can also find that on that platform as well too. We're going to have that in the podcast tab there, so everybody can go and listen to her podcast that comes out. So again, Erin, just thank you so much for your time today. We certainly just really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was really fun. I appreciate it. Thanks everyone who's listening, and reach out if you want to chat. Would love it.